want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Zack Snyder's come a long way since he made his feature directorial debut with the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Boasting a script by a then unknown James Gunn, oh how times have changed, the movie was a surprise hit, even winning over those who thought a remake of the George A. Romero classic was sacrilege. And you know what, folks? I was one of them, and I was proven wrong. And from there, Snyder's career shot off like a rocket with 300, Watchmen, and his dramatic detour into the DCEU. Zombies seemed to be in the rearview mirror for a while until a bad experience on Justice League, which of course has since been rectified. Snyder decided to go work on something he'd have more creative control over, resulting in his first big budget film for Netflix, Army of the Dead, which, funny enough, is a project that he's actually been attached to since way back in 2007. Now, if the DC movies he did felt somewhat compromised in that they were made by committee to some degree, Army of the Dead is Snyder unleashed, with him not only directing, but also, as usual, producing with his wife Deborah Snyder, but also co-writing and acting as his own director of photography. Arguably the most epic take on the zombie apocalypse since World War Z, Snyder makes a triumphant return to the horror genre that should please both his cult-like following and even more casual horror fans. Running an epic 2.5 hours, Army of the Dead, through a stylish opening montage set to a soulful cover of Viva Las Vegas, fills viewers in on what, in a way, could have been its own franchise. What I mean to say is, he introduces all of the characters over this montage with quick glimpses of their lives before the zombie apocalypse. It hints at this rich history for the characters that really could be explored in a series of prequels and is getting the anime treatment. Dave Bautista is our lead as Scott Ward, the leader of a crew of badasses called Last Vengeance, who have declared war on the undead that came about after an army incident in the Nevada desert. When the film opens up, the crew has gone their separate ways, with Vegas now a walled-off city the government plans to nuke. Bautista, now down and out after winning a Medal of Honor, is a cook at a dive restaurant who can't resist getting the gang together when hired by a billionaire played by Hiroyuki Sanada named Bly Tanaka, who wants the gang to go in and recover $200 million that are locked in a safe. The deal is they can keep $50 million. Reunited, the old crew, which includes Ana de la Reguera as the second-in-command crews, Omari Hardwick as the philosophical muscle Van der Rohe, and Tignataros Peters as pilot, the crew, along with a German safecracker played by Matthias Schweighöfer, a Vegas coyote played by Nora Arnezeder, and Raul Castillo's viral video influencer, and more, descend into Vegas to recover the money and get out before the city gets nuked. Complicating things is the addition of Ella Purnell's Kate Ward, who happens to be Dave Bautista's character's estranged daughter. No mere zombie tale, Snyder spends a lot of time establishing the zombie hierarchy. They're not all mindless, with an alpha class of zombies being somewhat intelligent and organized. There's loads of shootouts, betrayals, and ultra-violent set pieces, with Snyder making the most out of his R rating. Being the DP, he also pulls off some really interesting action scenes, including a show-stopping shootout involving Canadian wushu champ Samantha Wynn that blew me away. The ensemble is great, with Bautista a surprisingly soulful, soft-spoken hero. While he's immense physically, he's presented as a solid, loving guy capable of only extreme ultra-violence when provoked. But don't worry, he gets provoked a lot, and you get to see Bautista unleashed in the last act. Everyone is really good here, with De La Reguera having nice chemistry with Bautista, and Purnell's sweet as his estranged daughter, who is a UN volunteer trying to help the displaced former citizens of Vegas. Now, this is where conflict comes in, because Nora Arnezeder plays a coyote who brought a friend of hers into Vegas in order to find some money to buy her way out of the displacement camp that the government's forced her into. So Purnell's gone back in to save her, trying to encourage her dad to help her out. Of the cast, the scene stealer has to be Schweighöfer as Ludwig Dieter, a safecracker who's so likable, he's getting his own solo prequel, Army of Thieves, which Schweighöfer himself also directed. One interesting thing about Army of the Dead is how violent and dramatic it gets. The trailers have mostly been just selling the fun aspect, but the third act of the movie takes a turn that leads it down a way grittier path than you'd think. It's thematically actually quite similar to what he did with Dawn of the Dead, in that it gets totally nihilistic. It's an entertaining ride with great music by Junkie XL, of course, as usual. Plus, my favorite Elvis song, Suspicious Minds, plays over the end credits, and this time it's not a cover, because who could touch Elvis? Snyder's clearly building a franchise here, and it seems likely to become one. While maybe a touch long at 2.5 hours, and a call out to aliens by Arnezeder's character also feels a little too on the nose for my money, overall this is a blast of apocalyptic action with terrific set pieces and great performances. Notably, Snyder shot this at a 1:78:1 aspect ratio, meaning it fills your whole TV set. It's not window box like the Snyder Cut. It actually gives the movie a huge epic look that's unique because Netflix movies tend to shoot at a wider aspect ratio in order to make them more cinematic, as if they protest too much. Snyder's gone the other route. He's using the TV screen to the maximum, and with the big canvas he shoots it on, plus his custom designed Red 1 cameras, almost makes this feel like an IMAX movie for home viewing. We're in for a treat, folks. It's really good. I give this one a very strong 8 on 10.